Welcome to this tutorial by Living Technologies on how to make completely raw GcMAF for a fraction of the cost with all the products being absolutely raw. I'm going to teach you how to make an amazing GcMAF that's also known as its trade name Bravo. Here on the second day of kefirizing juice and kefirizing raw milk with kefir grains, and we didn't have enough sun yesterday to kefirize the grains in the milk, but the juice is actually ready, and I'm going to show you how it's ready. And I'm actually also going to add, as you can see, I'm going to add the tangerine juice that I just juiced. So I'm going to grab the kefir juice, and you can actually, I'm going to put it next to the speaker so you can actually hear it going pshh. So it's ready. So this Concord kefir juice is ready, and I want to show you today what the kefir milk looks like as it's kefirizing. So I'm sure you could see how it's kefirized, and the kefir grains are all on top, and you can see kind of how it's, my hands are clean. So the milk, we're going to check and see if it's kefirized enough. These are, I like using wooden spoons that are made out of bamboo because they're not very absorbable, even though they say not to use wooden spoons. So I'm going to mix the kefir, and you can see that there's beautiful chunks, that I made beautiful thick chunks of kefir from the milk. And that's what you want. So you want, and here's my kefir grain. You can kind of see it there. Okay, so the kefir milk is ready, and it's nice and thick, which is great. So we're going to put it right here. I'm going to show you how to process it. I'm going to take the kefir juice that's all fermented now here, and I'm going to actually put it into this jar with the tangerine juice that I just juiced. So that's raw and, you know, delicious and ready to drink. So what I want to do is I want to put this at an angle so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the colander underneath, or and all the kefir, here's the kefir grains that I put in there. Okay, you could see that. So I'm going to maintain that there, so in case there's more kefir grains, I don't lose them in my juice. And I'm just going to move the whole grape juice jar into this larger, almost 1 gallon jar. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is, now I have to bring this down, and we have beautiful spring water where I live, so I don't have to filter anything. So I wash them with the spring water that comes right out of our tap. Where we live, there's no fluoride or chlorine, and that's one of the things that you want to keep in mind, is you don't want your kefir grains to get chlorinated or fluorinated, because they will kill them. This is a whole bunch of probiotic bacteria as well that has 100 billion probiotics in it. It's amazing. So that's basically what we have. And I'm going to put these guys back in here. This right here is my kefir grains jar that I added milk to yesterday, and this is actually fermenting in the fridge on its own timing. So I'm going to mix them up. Okay, and I'm going to leave this out because now the job is to get the kefir grains out of. Now this, I'm going to actually probably add some water to it maybe put some kefir grains in here again and let it ferment even longer, the juice. So you're seeing me how I'm making the juice actually. So at this point what I would do is I'm going to put some spring water in here and I'm going to pour it in here. So I'll be right back to do that. Alright, so I'm back with my water. I like to actually put water in here that has been somewhat filtered. So in case there's any heavy metals or anything from the chemtrails, it does eliminate them. So I need a little bit more water in that. And I'm going to actually leave this up here to ferment a little bit longer. And if you're seeing bubbles there, it's because the juice got kefirized. You see the bubbles right there? So it's pretty kefirized already. It's actually very probiotic, this drink is. You could actually, if you want to ferment it even more, and make it really, really probiotic. So I may do that. I may change my mind and grab some of my kefir grains that are in here and put them back in this container. So you can see what I'm doing. So this is my kefir grain container where I have probably, I'd say around close to about a half a cup of kefir grains. So that, about that much is enough to actually kefirize the juice, finish kefirizing it. Again, I'm going to wash these guys in cold water, get rid of the excess milk, okay, and then I'm going to dump them in here. And as you can see, this juice is kind of moving pretty quick, you know, it's kind of cool. So we're going to put that back on the window, and I'm going to put this under it in case it decides to effervescent out. So we have the juice sitting on the window with it hitting some sun, okay, some sun hitting it, which is great. And let's see, okay, so now what we're going to do is I need a bigger strainer, a colander strainer, that I can actually, and I use a metal one, but you could use a plastic one if you choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the kefir grains from our kefirized milk. And the way that I do that, and we're going to make the GcMAF today, is I actually put it in my blender so I'm not too messy. And as you could see, I mean, what I do then is I go ahead and I, little by little, okay, I take the grains out. I usually do it with my fingers. It's a lot easier, but since I'm doing a demo video, I don't want, you know, this is for us, for our own home, that I'm making this. If I was making for somebody else. And what I'm doing is I'm finding my kefir grains, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that. The kefir grains that are in this milk that we just kefirized, which is nice and thick and beautiful. That's how you want your kefir cream milk to be. I'm going to try and take some of these kefir grains out from the top, because they usually hang out at the top. Not always though, so you can't count on that. You can't count on your kefir grains being at the top of the jar. And that's why I actually dye my kefir grains with the juice mix that we just made. So that's how I can find them here. When you get the white kefir grains in your milk, it's going to be hard to find them, and you are going to have to use your fingers to actually locate your kefir grains. So that's why I make the kefirized juices, is actually, and make them with Concord grape. Sometimes I make them with cassis, which is black currants, or black cherry. I try to use juices that are very dark, that actually, this is a beautiful kefir, by the way. I want to show you how thick it is and how clumpy it is, and you want it to be that way because then it's going to blend into a beautiful thick kefir. And in order to get this kind of thickness in the kefir, okay, this was out for about, see, I put it out yesterday. It was almost 24 hours it took because it's cold where we live. There's snow outside. So inside it's about, temperature about 68 degrees. So I always put the kefir grains, okay, I always put the kefir through the strainer because I'm checking to see if there's any grains in it. And when there isn't, I dump it into, you know, the jar, because sometimes the grains will hide. And actually, I just poured one in there. So you always want to save your grains, as small or large as they are. They make this beautiful milk, and you just basically want to save them. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm being super diligent to make sure that I don't have kefir grains that I lose from this process. So there's that. Almost there. And see, at the bottom there was a kefir grain. That happens sometimes. So there's another one right there. So I'm just going through this milk to make sure I don't lose any kefir grains. And as I'm kind of putting it in there, not kind of, I'm checking to see if there's kefir grains or not. Okay, so here's our 1/4 cup, and you're going to see 2 kefir grains, actually, that came out of the bottom of the jar. And I preserve my kefir grains. I want to, because they make more kefir for me indefinitely, which is great. Okay, so now that we've gotten the kefir into the blender, and you could use any blender, by the way, you don't have to use a Blendtec. I like Blendtecs. I think they're better than Vitamixes because they make it super foamy and they mix things up really, really well. Now I'm going to use this jar again, by the way, this jar that we have the kefir milk in. I'm going to put my kefir jar with all the kefir grains away. Just wash it out, and I'm going to shake them and put them away in the fridge. And I am going to now, I'm going to put the colostrum, the other piece that we need to do today. And we're going to put this product. We're going to put the RAW Probiotics Garden of Life 400 billion probiotic. Okay. So here's the 400 billion raw probiotics, 32 strains. I am going to open my colostrum bag. This is a brand new bag that I have, so you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to open it right there. And okay, so that's the beautiful colostrum that we have. And this is the Garden of Life multi-strain probiotic that we're going to make. And it has a little spoon in there, beautiful, that actually will go into the kefir milk in the blender. Okay, so it looks like what we need to do is we need to put, because this is a quart, not 2 quarts, that's half a gallon. We only need to put 1 teaspoon. So this is way too much. This, on the other hand, is perfect for the colostrum. About that much, okay? So you pour that in there. I'm going to keep that one there. And I'm going to grab a smaller little spoon that I have here. Okay? That actually, this is about enough, okay? So I'm going to put 1, and this will make a teaspoon, and 2 will be 1 teaspoon. Or you could get a teaspoon from your kitchen. and measure it. And now that we added these two ingredients into the kefirized milk, I'm going to put this up here and the other one in the fridge, because it does have to be refrigerated. This probiotic strain does. And now we are going to blend this. And we're going to put it back into this jar. So, we got our blend tech. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this one and only blend it for about 20 seconds. And it shows the timer there. So 20 seconds, I've blended the whole thing, the chunks and everything that was in the kefir milk that we just made, the thick kefir milk. And I just want to show you, I'm not going to drink this right now, but, well, I'll pour it into here and you'll see how beautiful and thick it is. And I'm just going to pour it all back into this jar. Okay, and if you remember, we leave about this much space actually, okay, for the probiotics to keep growing. Because there is a type of yeast that's in here that will actually continue to grow, and we're going to leave our beautiful kefirized raw milk with the ingredients to make GcMAF. Okay, all those probiotics, basically. I'm going to put this back there. And I'm going to try and get as much of this back into the jar. Because you want to use every little last bit of the milk that you just blended. And there is no chunks here. It got rid of all the chunks, which is great. That's what you want. You want it to be like this. And then what I do, this is my choice. Your choice if you want to ferment this even longer. I found that because we're doing this raw process, you don't need to ferment this for another 12 or 14 hours outside of the fridge. Because you have so many probiotics in this raw process. That what I found in doing this is that I only need like another 4 hours for it to sit outside. And I'm just going to close the lid. And I'm going to actually put this this jar. It's right there next to basically our kefirized, and you could see how the juice is all kefirizing beautifully. It's no different for the milk. That will happen. Now we have GcMAF milk, and I'll make another video once this is done in 4 hours, and I'll show you how to add the vitamin D to your liquid drink and drink it up. So this is the second phase. We'll go to the third phase and then we'll be complete. Thank you for watching.